if you do MMA, you will 100% get injured. That's the truth. But 99% of these injuries are preventable. So I'm gonna pour everything I know about injury prevention from my 5 years of martial arts experience into this video. I'll leave some timestamps up here, so if there's a point in the video that you wanna just get to, then feel free to do so. Up until last year, I would constantly get injured. So much so that I literally looked up and did some research and found out that there's this gene that you can inherit from your parents that makes you basically more susceptible to injuries. And I literally thought I had it. I was 100% convinced that I had a genetic disadvantage that made me more likely to get injured. I don't have this gene, and chances are you don't have it either, no matter how convinced you are that you do. This beta mindset was the first thing I needed to overcome to the first step in injury prevention. Step 1, fix your mindset about pain. Stop being so hyper aware about pain. A small little twinge in your calf muscle, forget about it. If you start focusing on every single muscle ache that you get, you're gonna convince yourself that it's actually worse than it is when it's not. And then you'll start testing it. For example, if your calf muscle's sore, you'll start jumping on it, trying to test it, and you're just gonna make it worse. Muscle pains and soreness are normal for everyone to experience, and most of them go away within 1-2 nights sleep. Don't feed the pain with attention. The only time you should stop training due to pain is if it's sharp, getting worse, or it's been there for a while and it's persistent. This mindset shift is essential. And if you're constantly monitoring your body for issues, it's gonna affect your mental health. You're gonna start thinking that you're constantly injured, you've constantly got these muscle aches, and it's gonna make you think that you're fragile and weak when you're actually not. So the first step is don't over focus on every little bit of pain that you get. Step 2, warm up properly. Before we get into specific body parts, the first best tool for injury prevention is a good warm-up. Do dynamic stretches, not static ones. For example, leg swings, walking lunges, arm circles, etc. Movements that are gonna warm up your muscles and increase the blood flow to them. Static stretches, such as just holding stretches, have been proven to be less effective before intense training. And the second thing in a good warm-up is to increase your heart rate. Jog, shadow box, jump rope, do whatever it takes to get your heart rate up and to get the blood flow to your muscles. Okay, now that basic stuff is done, I'm gonna start at the head and I'm gonna move down through specific body parts and give you specific ways that you can prevent injuries in those areas. All right, neck injuries. I would say neck injuries are most common in grappling, from tight submissions, collar ties, and from head pressure. The first thing you can do to prevent injuries in your neck is to train your neck muscles. A strong neck supports your spine and absorbs impact. I cover all the in-depth benefits of training your neck in this video up here, so check that out if you're interested. The second thing you can do to prevent injuries in your neck is to warm up your neck. So neck rolls, light resistance exercises, and shoulder shrugs can get the blood flowing to your traps and your neck muscles, which are gonna help to prevent injuries. The third thing to do with your neck muscles is to tap early to submissions. If you're caught in a tight choke or neck crank and there's no realistic escape, you have to tap. Especially if it's one of those chokes, you know the type, that it's a choke, someone's trying to choke you, but it's not really choking you and it's just kind of cranking at your neck and your spine. Tap. It doesn't matter if it's not choking you yet, just tap. Okay, upper and mid back injuries. The most common injuries in your upper back and mid back that I've experienced are pulled or strained muscles. And this comes from not warming up properly or from bad form, either that be striking or grappling. So the first thing you can obviously do is to warm up your back. So shoulder circles, remember dynamic movements, trunk twists and shoulder mobility drills can help to warm up the area and increase blood flow. And the second thing is to focus on your technique. For example, if you're in wrestling, don't just try to think you can brute strength your way through it, pick someone up, slam them. It's not gonna work. It will work to an extent, but over time, you're just gonna increase the risk of your upper and mid back injuries. You're just gonna increase the risk of pulling or straining a muscle. So make sure that you focus on your technique first, and then you can focus on applying strength with those techniques. Lower back injuries. Lower back injuries often stem from weak glutes and or bad posture. So the first thing you can do is to train your glutes. I know this is not a quick fix, but over time, training your glutes is gonna give you heaps of benefits. Stronger glutes take pressure off your lower back, which can help to prevent injuries. And they also help with your balance and your power. I cover all this stuff in this video once again, if you want to check that out. The second thing to do to prevent lower back injuries is to fix your posture. I've recently been going to a physio because I pretty much have technique, which I'm not proud of, but I'm working on it. I'm going to a physio and I'm working on it. But it's really brought something to mind. Bad posture. It's called sway posture. I'll put a photo up on screen. This posture puts a lot of strain on your lower spine, which with time can turn into hairline fractures, which are gonna cause a lot of pain in your spine. And it's not good for technique or strength at all. So if you have bad posture, go look in a mirror, look at yourself side on. If you have this posture, go to a physio. I know it's a little bit expensive to go to a physio, but it's worth it. Fixing your posture is going to help you so much with MMA. It's going to give you more power, more balance. It's going to help prevent injuries, obviously, and it's actually just more attractive. Shoulder, elbow, and arm injuries. So the first thing to do to prevent arm-related injuries is to warm up your shoulders and elbows and wrists with dynamic movements such as shoulder circles, elbow circles, and wrist circles. You can do crap like that. That is going to help you increase the blood flow and just not be cold. The second thing to do is to learn how to fall properly. You have to learn how to break fall in MMA. Last year I got single legged and I landed weirdly on my shoulder and it really hurt my shoulder. I was out for at least 2 weeks. Avoid that. That is a completely avoidable injury. Learn how to fall properly so you don't hurt yourself. Another common injury is to do with your elbow. This is mostly with striking. Overextending on punches. So if you're punching and you miss or you overextend, it can actually lock out your elbow. I mean, it's pretty much just like flicking out on your elbow. It's painful and it can actually damage some of the ligaments there if it's severe. So just be conscious of that. Make sure you're training the correct form, turning your shoulder in with the punch so that you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna risk that at all. And then finally, it's just grappling awareness. Obviously, grappling, there's a lot of risk on your limbs. The first obvious one is arm bars or wrist locks or shoulder locks. Just tap early. If you can't escape them, don't. And if it's in deep, just tap. No point trying to push through it at all. Second thing is, you might not even be training at this point, but some people sit and they'll just be leaning on one arm. This is really dangerous because if someone falls on there, it'll literally can snap your arm. So don't do that. Keep your arms in, legs crossed, stay safe. Also a little bonus is framing on hips. So if someone's on top of you or in side control, be careful about framing on their hips because if they shift their hip, it can like wrist lock you and it's painful. Leg injuries, hips, knees, and ankles. Once again, the best thing to do is to warm up properly. So leg swings, knee circles, and light movement drills to warm up the joints and increase the blood flow. First preventable injury is hip injuries when you're kicking. So the best thing to do with this is to get proper form. Make sure you're rotating your standing leg so that you don't lock out your hips because that can actually damage the ligaments inside of your hip joints, which is gonna really bug you because you need your hips to walk, right? So make sure you're kicking with proper form and don't try to go as high as you can with your kicks straight away. Obviously warm up, stretch, get into it that way. Be careful with your knees. Takedowns put a lot of pressure on your knees, especially when your weight is too far forward. Movements that have your knee going over your toes have the highest injury risk for your knees. So when you're shooting for takedowns or even in any movement really, even in striking, when your knee has risk of going over your toes, be careful about how your weight's distributed. Make sure you keep some weight on the back foot as well so that you're not putting all that pressure because that can eventually lead to ACL tears, which you don't want, obviously. And the final thing, which is going to help with your hips, knees, and ankles, is to have good footwork. This will come with time. Obviously, you can't straight away get good footwork, but good footwork is going to prevent weird rotating or pivots that can hurt your hips or knees or ankles, obviously. It's going to prevent you crossing your feet and potentially rolling your ankles, which is bad. And obviously, you need good footwork in striking and grappling to be any good. So work on your footwork. Okay, here are some final thoughts for you. Injuries are part of the game in MMA, but the goal is to prevent stupid preventable injuries because they're just gonna slow down your progress. So some top points I've got for you are: learn from previous injuries, never have the same injury twice, build strength, build flexibility, and take your warm-up seriously. And most importantly, don't let your mind turn minor pains into long-term injuries. If you want to see more videos like this from a small YouTuber centered around helping you improve at MMA around other life commitments such as work and university, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.